To the midterms, election season is upon us. Americans returned to the polls last night in Ohio and Indiana. In the Buckeye State, hillbilly elegy author J.D. Vance winning the GOP Senate primary, thanks at least in part to Donald Trump's last-minute endorsement. A venture capitalist and former never-Trumper who called the last president an idiot back in 2016, Vance will now face Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan in November to replace retiring Republican Rob Portman. At the top of the ticket, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine fending off a primary challenge to win the GOP nomination for a second term, defeating former Congressman Jim Renacci, who criticized his efforts to fight the pandemic and claimed to have Trump's backing. And Nan Whaley, the former mayor of Dayton, Ohio, making history Tuesday night on the Democratic side, becoming the first woman to win a major party nomination for governor in that state's history. And Mayor Nan Whaley joins us now. Congratulations on your victory last night.
Hey, thanks a lot. It's good to be on.
So you face, as you know, an uphill climb this fall, taking on a popular incumbent in a state that Donald Trump carried in 2016 and 2020. I'm sure that you believe that this is a winnable race. But based on what we saw last night, what do you feel is the key to your success?
Well, I absolutely think we have a big opportunity to change Ohio. You know, for the past 3 decades, we've had the same guys in charge. And Mike DeWine, the governor that's sitting there now, has been in office since I was 10 months old. And during that time, we've seen Ohio fall further and further behind. And we believe Ohio deserves better. And we think that's a key path for us. And we're going to talk about how a working class person, me, can really fight for people that are working. That's something we've not seen in the state house for a really long time.
And what about turnout? I mean, early and same-day voting were both down significantly for Democrats in Ohio and up for Republicans compared to 2018. Is that a red flag?
Not so much. I mean, frankly, what we saw was a lot of confusion because of the fight with the gerrymandering, where the Republicans are refusing to follow the law when it comes to fair and maps. And so we're actually going to have 2 primaries in Ohio. And Democrats have been very focused on the gerrymandering piece and less on this race. Secondly, the Senate race was one where they spent a record amount of money on, the most in American history. And so I think that had a big difference into the primary race and the differences we saw between the Democrats and Republicans. They were just 2 very different races.
Earlier this week, as you well know, Politico reported that the Supreme Court has voted to overturn Roe v. Wade and abortion rights in this country in that draft that was leaked. In your state, Republicans have proposed so-called trigger bills that would ban abortions if Roe v. Wade is to be overturned. If that decision is finalized, as reported in the coming weeks, how does that impact your race?
Well, I think it has a huge impact on our race. I mean, we felt it just, the announcement was the night before our election on Tuesday, and I just saw the outrage appropriately from women all across the state of Ohio. And I mean, we have very, very extreme elected officials on abortion, including Governor Mike DeWine, who likes to call himself the most anti-choice governor in the country. He has been waiting for this moment to end women's really difficult choices that are between their doctors, their families, and he wants to be in the room with them. And we think that that's a big challenge. The state is 61% pro-choice, and we think we need to speak about this, and it's a huge opportunity in this race.
And just to be clear, if Roe v. Wade is to be overturned and you were to become elected governor in Ohio, how would you respond to that?
Well, look, I would veto any bill that came across my desk that affects women's access to health care and the choices she makes and access to abortion, right? Full stop. I'm proud of the work that I've done over the past 2 decades, my entire career, to fight for women's health care access with Planned Parenthood and Pro-Choice Ohio. I would continue that work. You can do a lot of that work as governor. And frankly, we know that, seeing the text of the draft, that this is going to go down to states, and the governors of states are going to be very, very important. And certainly in Ohio, it is super important that we have a pro-choice governor to protect women's health care access.
Our most recent ABC News Washington Post poll paints a bleak picture for Democrats 6 months from Election Day. President Biden is underwater by 10 points. 42% of Americans approve of his performance and 52% disapprove. 94% of voters say that they are upset or concerned by inflation and trust Republicans over your party to handle that issue and the economy. Are Democrats doing enough, do you feel, to address Americans' concerns about the economy right now?
Well, I think it's a different situation in Ohio, right? I think what we see in Ohio, since these guys, Republicans, have been in charge for 3 decades, they hold a lot of the bag on inflation here in Ohio. Frankly, there's a lot more that Governor DeWine could be doing to get costs down. He is completely out of touch with everyday Ohioans, and we're going to talk a lot about his role in making sure that workers get paid a decent wage, but that costs get under control. He's not been interested in that because, frankly, working families and people that work for a living aren't special interests or donors. And so that's a big challenge for us in this state. And we're going to talk a lot about that in this governor's race.
And lastly, what about President Biden's overall performance? Would you campaign with him if he travels to your state?
Look, I think President Biden has one of the toughest jobs around. I mean, as mayor, I worked with 3 different administrations, and I found that President Biden actually worked the best with mayors across the country. He understands and respects what local leaders have to go through. I was proud to do the work with him on the infrastructure bill that helps local communities and states, frankly, to build roads, bridges, and infrastructure. I want to make sure that that money actually gets to the ground, something I don't think Governor DeWine is going to do, again, because he's going to take care of his special interests rather than taking care of working families in Ohio cities. And so those are the issues that I'm interested in working on and have worked with President Biden in the past.
Former Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley, the Democratic candidate for governor in Ohio. We thank you so much for your time. And once again, congratulations on your victory last night.
Great to see you. Thanks so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.